American politics feels like it has reached a strange turning point. The ground is shifting, the old guardrails look weaker, and the presidency seems to carry more weight than ever. People throw around the word dictator, yet the truth is that the president has not even used the full range of powers modern law quietly grants him, which naturally leads to the unsettling question: if someone truly wanted to turn the United States into a personal empire, how would they pull it off? The frightening part is that every new president receives classified instructions outlining what to do during a catastrophic emergency, and hidden inside those memos sits enough authority to end the republic entirely. Welcome to Political Plot, where we cut through the noise to reveal the power plays shaping American politics. Today we're diving into how a determined leader could gradually bend American institutions, manipulate public fear, and consolidate enough power to turn a democracy into a personal regime. So imagine you are not just another citizen, but someone with visibility. Maybe you made money, went viral, or already have a small political base. In America, your path is not through tanks or barracks. Your path is through elections. You start in a state where donors are plentiful and competition is manageable. You work your way up, building recognition until you become a governor or senator. But rising through the ranks is not enough. You need to embody a cause the country feels is missing. Almost every figure who veers into autocracy begins as a voice claiming to speak for those who feel ignored. You also need a threat, a villain that supposedly endangers the nation. Fear binds followers more tightly than optimism ever will. Whether you choose foreign influence, immigration, entrenched bureaucrats, or ideological enemies, the story is the same. You position yourself as the lone defender who sees the danger clearly while everyone else looks away. With that narrative in place, you lean into populism. You cast yourself as the outsider who will clean out corruption and restore dignity to ordinary people. But to do anything meaningful, you must take over one of the major parties. Outsiders rarely survive in the American system, but conquering a party transforms you into its unavoidable center of gravity. Once your movement grows, you run for president even if the odds seem slim. Campaigns give you national exposure, connect you with donors, and create a permanent brand. A recession or wave of political violence only helps you, because chaos always amplifies the voice-promising order. After a few cycles, you eventually seize the nomination. At that stage, your strategy shifts. Elections are no longer just elections. They become psychological battles. Modern campaigns depend heavily on spectacle. Protests and street clashes feed into narratives, and you turn every confrontation into proof that your warnings were right. You do not hesitate to use misinformation, leaks, or hostile rumor campaigns. If states controlled by your allies purge voter rolls or impose new rules that tilt the field, that becomes part of the plan. When supporters intimidate others at polling stations, you frame it as patriotism. Bit by bit, you normalize behavior once considered unthinkable. Now envision that you actually win. With one oath, the legal terrain changes dramatically. Recent rulings have made clear that presidents enjoy broad protection from prosecution. Only Congress can remove you, and only with overwhelming agreement. As long as a minority of senators fear the consequences of removing you, you are effectively insulated from accountability. With that cushion, you open multiple fronts at once. You reshape your party by punishing disloyal figures. You seize influence over national committees that manage primaries and fundraising. Politicians fall in line quickly when they realize their careers depend on your approval. You then turn toward the federal bureaucracy. The executive branch was designed to outlast individual presidents, but you begin replacing career officials with loyalists. Agencies that once operated with independence suddenly face pressure to follow your agenda. The Justice Department becomes your most valuable tool. Your Attorney General must follow your lead, not Congress's expectations. Federal investigators who resist you are removed, reassigned, or publicly smeared as part of the threat you have spent years describing. Meanwhile, you maneuver to dominate the media environment. Regulatory bodies that approve mergers or licensing become leverage points. Major companies, focused on profit, subtly begin adjusting their tone to avoid conflict with your administration. As midterm elections arrive, you cannot afford to lose Congress. You encourage allies and state governments to redraw districts in your favor. Laws that forbid partisan maps are bent or ignored. Voter purges target demographics unlikely to support you. And if federal agencies discreetly influence election management, there may be no swift way to detect it. Suspicion becomes widespread, which paradoxically benefits you because it undermines confidence in any result you dislike. Meanwhile, protests and political violence surge. You frame all unrest as evidence that your opposition is dangerous. Federal agents infiltrate demonstrations to escalate tensions, giving you justification to crack down. You want the country exhausted. When people grow tired enough, they often accept strong measures from whoever promises stability. Behind the scenes, you target influential figures in the opposition. You begin not with senior leaders, but with rising voices who could rally public opinion. Accusations do not need to be solid, they only need to create doubt. Over time, prominent critics vanish from the spotlight, either through legal trouble or strategic pressure. Re-election becomes the most important moment. If you secure another term, you claim a mandate to do whatever is required to fix the crisis. You crush what remains of your opponents, push friendly candidates into leadership, and isolate the remaining resistance. With Congress and the executive unified under your influence, you appoint loyal judges rapidly, reshaping the courts so that legal constraints become symbolic rather than real. At this point, only the military remains as an institution that could challenge you. To neutralize this, you need a national shock, something catastrophic, something that floods screens and drowns the news cycle in fear. After such a moment, you declare a national emergency. Then the secret emergency documents come into play. Their contents are not public, but they are designed to give presidents sweeping authority during existential crises. You impose strict control over communication networks. You justify this as protecting the country from foreign manipulation. You declare martial law across the nation, overriding state governments. You round up organizers, activists, and high-profile critics, placing them in detention without trial. Ordinary members of the opposition are monitored rather than imprisoned because fear is more efficient than mass incarceration. Predictably, armed resistance emerges in pockets of the country. Some states threaten to break away. From the military's perspective, that looks like rebellion, and rebellion gives you the excuse to unleash full federal force. Once the armed forces align with you, organized resistance shatters. The remaining conflicts resemble sporadic insurgency rather than a national movement. Eventually, fatigue sets in. Most people want normal life more than they want ideological purity. Many adjust to the new order simply because fighting it feels futile. By then, the system has already transformed. The Constitution still exists on paper, but its barriers have been hollowed out. Power has consolidated around one individual, and the democratic structure that once defined the country fades into memory. Whether this dystopian arc ever becomes real depends on vigilance. Institutions do not fall all at once. They erode slowly, one compromise at a time, until suddenly the guardrails are gone. The disturbing truth is that every tool needed for such a takeover already exists. The question is, who might one day choose to use them?